here. Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out today. My name is AJ Walker. I am the new Chief Public Information Officer for the City of Riviera Beach. I've been on this job for just a few weeks now, but I want to let you all know that transparency is extremely important to myself and the City of Riviera Beach, our leadership here, and this is why we have called this press conference today and have worked expeditiously to get information out regarding the 2 officers who were recently terminated from the Riviera Beach Police Department. I would like to introduce and let you all know who will be speaking today and who we have before us here today. Of course, this is Mayor Ronnie Felder and our interim police chief, Spencer Rogier, our city manager, Jonathan Evans, and Councilwoman Julia Botel. We will start first with our interim police chief, who's going to share some information.
Again, thank you for giving this opportunity to speak with you and the public. Yesterday, as we announced, we made the arrest of Officer Mark Joseph, and it was explained at that time that that officer was charged with 2 felony counts of unlawful sexual activity with a minor, which resulted in his termination from employment with the Riviera Beach Police Department. As I stated then and now, it's still an ongoing investigation. He was arrested and charged by the Sheriff's Office, and that investigation is still active, so it's limited on the amount of further information that we can give in that case. But we just wanted to clarify, because it was also announced about the termination of Officer Verley Moynton yesterday, and so we wanted to clarify the distinct differences between those 2 incidents. In the case of Officer Joseph, as we said, he was charged with 2 felony counts of unlawful sexual activity with a minor. In the case of Officer Verley Moynton, he was terminated also from the employment with Riviera Beach, but in his case, he was found to have had sexual contact with the young teenager that was involved in our Police Explorer program. But that teenager was 18 years of age, and also the sexual contact they had was outside of the work environment, but still, nevertheless, it was inappropriate. We did have it reviewed by 2 outside law enforcement agencies that determined that no criminal charge would be filed because of the fact that she was technically considered an adult. But in our case, we found out that he violated not only the code of ethics from the police department, he also violated the rules and regulations that come under the umbrella of the Police Explorer program under the Boy Scouts of America, which prohibits any contact with a participant of the program. And we took it very seriously, and although criminal charges were not found, we definitely felt that wasn't the standards or our expectations of how a police officer should conduct themselves, and it was something that we definitely wouldn't tolerate or could stand for, because we are entrusted by the community to take care of the students that are provided to us, and she was in fact a high school student at the time. So therefore we moved forward. Once it was determined it was not a criminal charge, we moved forward with termination procedures on that. So we wanted to make sure that was clarified, because I believe some news agency may have announced that Officer Moynton too was charged criminally, which he was not. Okay.
All right, thank you. At this point in time, I'm going to turn things over to our city manager, Mr. Jonathan Evans.
Thank you all for being here. Certainly, it's not something that we as an agency are proud of. We understand that a public office is a public trust, and we hold our law enforcement professionals to a higher standard. For us to be in this particular situation is disheartening, because this does not reflect the men and women that wear the uniform in the city of Riviera Beach, or the community for that matter. When this information was presented to administration, we acted swiftly to take the immediate steps to separate employment with these individuals, because we understand the importance of having ethical and intelligent and wise thinking officers as they interact with our community, especially in the hours that they may call us as a vulnerable resident of this community. And that is something that is not tolerated. That uniform and that badge is something that we will do any and everything to protect. And that for anyone that wears that uniform and that badge for the city of Riviera Beach understands that we hold them to a higher standards. With regards to the Youth Explorer program, that is a great program that the city of Riviera Beach has operated for many years. And we will be sitting down with parents and participants of that program to ensure them that the city of Riviera Beach is a partner and will continue to ensure that only the best and most ethical officers interact with the future law enforcement of tomorrow. We are also in the process of making some substantial changes in the agency. We will be concluding the selection process or the recruitment process for a new police chief that will conclude on November 22nd and then go into the selection process as it relates to an interview. But we are moving forward with a national search, and we have gotten a bunch of great candidates for that particular position. As we move forward as a city, I want the community and those at large to know that this is something that we as an organization believe in transparency. We want to be at the forefront of communicating directly with the public and understand that if we make a mistake as an agency, that we will own that mistake and we will take immediate steps to address it. These two instances do not define the Riviera Beach Police Department. It does not define this city, and we are going to be a city that moves forward. And I can assure you, the men and women that continue to wear this uniform understand the expectations are high, and that when someone picks up the phone to call us at their most vulnerable moment, they can rely that our officers will respond accordingly and treat them with the respect and dignity that is required. Do not let this situation define us. We will continue to move forward, and in the event that we find any other situations similar to this in our agency, we will do everything in our power to root out this problem and address it immediately, because that's the way in which we will conduct business, and that's the way in which we will move this city forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Manager Evans. Some of you all have requested the personnel files of those two officers. I'd like to let you know that we are working expeditiously to get you that information as quickly as we can, but of course that there is a process and that's going to take time, so it's not likely something that you will get today. However, I will be sending out some additional details from our internal affairs division within the police department to continue the flow of information and give you as much as you can to work with to get this message about the situation out to the public. At this time, we will open it up for questions or comments. Keep in mind that one of the investigations is still ongoing, so we will have to be careful about that. Okay? Thank you.
Are there any other open investigations regarding any other police officers at this time?
No, not concerning these matters.
Was the minor involved in Mark Joseph's case also a part of the Explorer program?
No, she was not.
And did these incidents happen while the two officers were on duty or off duty?
To my knowledge, they both were off-duty incidents.
How did you learn of the allegations involving the Explorer, the student in the Explorer program, and Officer Moyton?
Okay. I believe that young lady was brought to our criminal investigations division in reference to a complaint that she was dealing with a relative, and subsequent to speaking with her about that, it later came out that Officer Moyton may have had some sexual contact with her also.
So it was a separate investigation then in which she was involved in, and this came out as part of that?
Yes.
How long have the two officers been with the department?
I think I have the exact dates here. I don't want to tell you something that's not accurate. Okay, in the case of Officer Moyton, his employment date is 10/24 of 2011. In the case of Officer Joseph, his date of employment is July 23rd, 2018.
Was Mr. Joseph, I'm sorry, Mr. Moynton, part of the Explorer program himself before he came into becoming an officer here? Do you know?
No.
And how did he come into contact with, this is like,
Well, we have what we call our SRO units, School Resource Officers program, and the School Resource Officer program. Participants in the Police Resource Officer program also participated in the Explorer program as far as guiding the teenagers.
How did the department become aware of the second case with Officer Moynton and the Explorer program student?
Well, this actually happened before the Joseph case. So, like I said before, she was brought in reference to another situation, and in questioning her about that, additional information was uncovered that indicated that Officer Morton also may have had sexual contact with her, and that's how the investigation started.
So in Officer Joseph's case, it was the young woman and her grandmother who came in?
Exactly.
Okay. We just want to make sure we clarify how each one happened.
Right.
Is Mr. Evans able to, you hinted that there would be changes in the police department. Can you, I know that you're waiting on the new police chief to be hired, but are you able to address anything that you were alluding to?
Yes, absolutely. We are taking the necessary steps, and the interim chief has taken some steps to provide some training for existing personnel. As it relates to the progress for a new police chief, obviously they're going to come in and take a look at the agency, but we are going to make sure that it is abundantly clear to everyone in this agency, not just law enforcement, that these types of acts that jeopardize the health, welfare, and safety of the public is not acceptable. So if it is requiring us to bring in additional trainers to be here to talk about these types of activities and how they are not tolerated in this agency or any department in the city, we are going to take the immediate steps. But first and foremost, we do want to get out to the parents and the program participants of the Explorer program for the purposes of assuring them that this will not happen again, that when your child is sent to our community for the purposes of being interested in law enforcement, that that's something that we take very seriously, and that we will not compromise in our position and our stance as it relates to these issues. So holistically, as an organization, we're going to do better, we're going to be better, and we're going to make sure that the appropriate training is deployed. And when we do look to bring individuals on board, they will know that there's an expectations that they will operate in a form and a fashion that will not jeopardize the city seal or the badge of this agency.
Were either officers at all assigned to a school as a school resource officer?
I would defer to the chief because he can speak specifically to that.
Yes, all the school resource officers are normally assigned to a school. I don't know the specific school that Officer Morton may have been assigned to, but while he was with the Explorer program, it was dedicated to the participants within the program.
But
His
Officer
duties.
Joseph wasn't assigned to a school
No.
as a school resource. It was Officer Moynton.
Yes.
And could you say, do you know how long either or, case has been going on? I know they approached you for Officer Joseph's case on September 30th, and Moynton's was a little before that.
Yes.
Do you know how long these sexual encounters may have been going on?
Well, I don't know how long it was going on, but I know we first got report of it, I think sometime in January.
For Officer Moynton's case?
Right.
Have there been any other allegations of any sort of misconduct, whether it be sexual or not, involving either one of these officers?
No, not to my knowledge.
Can you say how many participants are in the Explorer program as far as students?
I would only be taking a guess. Usually I see, I think about from probably 18 to about 20-something students.
And the program lasts, I'm assuming it's like a season or a year?
Yeah.
A year? How does it
It's a seasonal thing. Again, I can't give you the exact number. I don't want to give you misinformation, but I know it's for a period of time and they move on, and we don't interfere with their high school or school schedule.
At this point, is there any indication that there may be prior victims from prior Explorer programs, or are you just looking at this one case?
Yeah, we have no knowledge of any other incidents.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Well, again, I just want to reiterate what the city manager said. We have very hard-working, dedicated men and women with the Riviera Beach Police Department, some of the finest people I've ever worked with, and I've worked with 4 different law enforcement agencies, be it the Air Force or my duties in other places, and there's none better than the ones we have here. Every agency has their share of people they have to deal with, and in this case, as soon as we found out about it, we took steps to address the problem and to not only let the public know that our standards are high, but support the men and women who do work hard and who abide by our standards, and we don't want their reputation tarnished either.
If you guys have all the information you need, I'd like to thank you all for coming out today, and feel free to reach out to me. You all have my email address if you have additional questions throughout the day. Thank you.
Do you need help?
So I can actually take your time for a second.